And that figures, Michael, into your new piece in the New Republic titled, "Trump's Trials Don't Interrupt His Campaign. They Are His Campaign." Explain a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Sure, and thanks for having me. The conventional wisdom, Willie, says that Trump needs to run a presidential campaign on the one hand. On the other hand, he's going to sit for these 4 trials, and he's going to be in 4 different courtrooms, and he's going to be going back and forth between the 2. How does he manage doing both of these things simultaneously? I think that conventional wisdom is wrong. I think it misunderstands who Trump is, what his relationship with his followers is. The trials are the campaign. The trials are the campaign. The mugshot is the campaign poster, right? The trials are the campaign because, he's not running any kind of conventional campaign. Joe Biden's going to run on the economy, presuming it's good. He's going to run on this overtime pay thing he just did, this right to organize thing that the NLRB did last week, prescription drugs, so on, conventional issues. Donald Trump's not going to run on anything like that. He's going to run on Donald Trump. He's going to run on Donald Trump as the martyr, and he's been laying the groundwork for this. This has been his rhetoric for months now. They're coming after me. They're really coming after you. I'm the only thing that stands in between them and you. The trials allow him to be the martyr. His followers aren't going to care about his plan for prescription drugs. They're going to care about his martyrdom for them as they perceive it. And to talk about the grift, Charlie, I'm sure you've seen, with respect to that mugshot. You go to the Trump website. That mugshot is on mugs, beer cozies, T-shirts, posters, everything with the words "Never Surrender" below them. So that's the kind of campaign that he's going to run. So there is no tension between his campaign and his presence in the courtroom. The presence in the courtroom, I think, as far as he's concerned, helps him.
Michael, I could not agree with you more as someone who's covered closely every campaign that Trump has had. This is his campaign. This is the grievance. And I think to this point, at least with his base, extremely effective, that argument of they're coming after me, next they'll come after you. And we hear from his supporters saying, well, if they can arrest him, what could they do to your family? Sure. Playing into that sort of deep state paranoia that is so key to a big part of the Republican Party right now. So with that said, this is going to help him in the Republican primary. But let's get you to fast forward a little bit. Let's say next summer, next fall, it's a general election campaign against President Biden, who's running a conventional campaign. These same images of Trump literally sitting in a courtroom day after day. How do you see that playing out with those swing voters or independents who so often actually decide elections in those handful of battleground states?
Right, and that's the silver lining for foes of Trump and people who want to see Joe Biden beat him. I can't imagine that sits very well with swing voters. First of all, just quickly on the primary, there is a segment of the Republican primary electorate, I think, with whom it won't sit well. The question is, how large is that segment? And I don't think it's probably large enough for Trump to lose a primary, because then not only do they have to be offended by it, but they all have to coalesce around one of the alternative candidates, and I just don't see that happening. But moving ahead to the general, the swing voter in Waukesha County, in Bucks County, in Cobb and Gwinnett counties, I don't see that swing voter being particularly impressed by the prospect of a candidate for president sitting in courtrooms and having the things said about him that are going to be said about him. And then particularly if there is a conviction before November of 2024, I have to think that's a big problem in the minds of the kinds of swing voters that he carried in 2016 that helped elevate him narrowly to the presidency.